still on, pressures are piling up in Nigeria's universities as the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities and Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions have threatened to commence an indefinite strike starting October 6th. The Joint Action Committee of both unions had earlier given the federal government a 14-day extended strike ultimatum, emphasizing that the strike comes after the end of their 2-week extension of the ultimatum over the abandonment of the renegotiation of the 2009 agreement. This, among others, was contained in the communique at the end of its 52nd National Executive Council meeting held at the Alvan Ikoku Federal University of Education, Owerri, Imo State. In a communique signed by Mohammed Ibrahim, president of the SANU, the union frowned at the inequitable and negligible allocation of the 50 billion naira end allowance, wherein only 20%, which amounts to 10 billion naira, was allotted to the 3 non-teaching unions. And to end the news, oil prices slide for a third day in a row to a 16-week low on Wednesday as the U.S. government showdown Fed worries about the global economy, while traders expected more oil supply to come on the market with a planned output boost by OPEC Plus next month. Brent crude futures reportedly fell 68 cents to settle at $65.35 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude fell by 59 cents to settle at $61.78, marking the lowest close for Brent since June 5th and for WTI since May 30th. U.S. oil production growth will stall if prices stay near $60 per barrel, as fewer drilling sites are profitable at that level. The CEO of Diamondback Energy Fang, one of the country's top oil producers, said on Wednesday. And according to reports, U.S. gasoline futures also closed at their lowest in almost a year in other energy markets. And still to come after the break, driving digital transformation, how human-centered design is shaping the future of African businesses. Do stay with us. Now, welcome back. You're still watching the Business Morning. Now, let's move to the first conversation for today. Across Africa, businesses are increasingly embracing technology to stay competitive and relevant in today's fast-paced digital economy. But while technology is a key driver, success often depends on how well solutions are designed to meet the real needs of people. Today, we'll be exploring the role of human-centered design in driving digital transformation across Africa, from agriculture to startups and social impact organizations, and how this approach is shaping the future of businesses. And joining us is Obafemi Victor, a product designer and a digital transformation consultant. Good morning, Obafemi Victor. It's good to have you on the Business Morning.
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning. It's good to have you. Now, let's move to the conversation by looking at the big picture first off. So let's start with the basics. What does human-centered design really mean in the context of digital transformation?
All right, thank you so much. So to answer these questions, we have to clarify the terms. There are 2 terms here: digital transformation, one, and human-centered design. These are 2 broad disciplines that we need to break down before we could answer this question properly. So for digital transformation, it's more like businesses, organizations leveraging technology to help them boost their business operation processes and to just help them stay competitive advantage over their competitors, right? So it's not just about slapping technology to your processes. and just ignoring the problems, but it's basically understanding the problem and trying to look for the sufficient technology that would help boost that particular business operations, right? And right at the center of digital transformation, we have the people, right? So it's like three core categories. We have the people, processes, and the technology. So you don't ignore the people and bring in the technology, or bring in process without like considering the people, right? So that's for digital transformation. So for human-centered design, human-centered design is also an approach, is also a discipline where it's a problem-solving discipline where it is structured in a way where you design products from a problem-solving mindset, right? Now, before you do that, you have to understand those users they are designing for. Let's say, for example, you are designing a product, a digital product, let's say a mobile application that solves a particular problem for a particular audience. You have to really understand this set of audience you are designing for and make sure you try to solve a problem that relates to them. You don't just like design and just ignore the people. So with this definition, you see that right at the center of both digital transformation and human-centered design, it's um, it's actually the people. The people at the center, right? So you look at different examples of digital transformation processes where people have evolved from, let's say Netflix, for example, which is a very big brand, which evolved from selling like a very key example of digital transformation. So just bottom line, uh, human-centered design and digital transformation have this synergy, which at the center is the people. So people drive businesses. Um, you want your business to survive, you have to consider your people, your customers, I mean, and you have to solve problem for them. And you also have to consider their needs and solve a problem that will make them not just use your product or your business or patronize your business. You make sure they use it and still stay. That's the goal. Adoption, adoption and retention of users. So this is what both digital transformation and human-centered design really seeks to solve, right? So at the key, it's the people, people-centered, human-centered, and customer-centered. So I think that's like the bottom line
Okay.
of it.
So how do you think digital transformation is different in Africa compared to other parts of the world?
Okay, right. So digital transformation is different because when you look at African is like a complex um, continent, right? We have different languages, we have different cultures, we have different level of technology, adoption rate of technology, different infrastructure level, right? So the the comparison between bigger countries and Africa is considering these factors, right? So, for example, if you want to bring a solution into Nigeria, you have to consider these factors I mentioned: the culture of the people, the rate of technology adoption, right? The infrastructure available to drive that digital transformation, you have to consider so many things, right? So you don't just like feel okay since it works in this particular part of the world, automatically it's going to work here. Whereas we have like different different systems, right? Different cultures and and this. And this is what digital transformation is trying to like solve, an human-centered design. So it's like basically understanding the people you want to solve the problem for. It's like as simple as that. You have to understand that Africa is different. Africa is diverse, right? So even in policy making, even in governance, right? You can see when like just an example where
So before we went on that break, you're welcome back. You're still watching Business Morning. Before we went on that break, Obafemi, you were trying to like explain to us what digital transformation, how it's different from other parts of Africa. But right now, let's move to the business relevance of this digital technology. Now, many business they actually adopt technology for the sake of it because everyone is doing it. But what risks do they face when they fail to prioritize the human-centered approach when it comes to digital technology?
right, so yeah, you don't just businesses shouldn't just adopt technology for the sake of it, right? Before I started, I talked about how um, digital transformation involves leveraging technology, right,
Mm.
in solving a particular problem in operations, business operations. Imagine technologies such as artificial intelligence, IoT, robotics, and similar emerging technologies that out there, right? So as a business, I think it's the wrong approach to say, okay, because of these buzz technologies are out there, just feel like you want to use those technologies to slap into your business, and at the long run you are not actually looking at what works for you in terms of your business operations, right? You just feel like, okay, because artificial intelligence is a buzzword, you just come and slap it into your business, right, without actually thinking of the like end-to-end process, without actually thinking of how does this help my business itself, right? Thinking deeply in that aspect. You need to understand the operations, from which point do this digital transformation, this technology I'm adopting helps my business. If it doesn't help your business, it's just like you just jumping on the bandwagon, which is actually not going to help your business. You're just going to end up spending money and not see results, right? You have to think deeply of your operations. You have to think deeply. Okay, let me give you an example. For example, it might be from your customer feedback. You want to automate the processes of customer feedback. Probably feedback to customers are not done properly. You get, probably you do the manual way, you have to call, but you just thought about, probably I can use AI bots on my products, my website, to help me receive this and like answer frequently asked questions. Then maybe if it's something very dicey, you could now bring up the person and talk to an human, right? This helps you attend to customers faster. This helps you you get, just help you do things easier and help you speed up the process, and also help you satisfy your users, your customers, which are like your key to your business growth, right? So it's important you know what works for you. It's important you audit your processes, and it's important to choose the technology that really helps your business, and not just jumping on the bandwagon, right? So that's what every needs to know and understand.
Okay, so how does human-centered design actually help businesses remain competitive in today's market?
Right. So this is like very interesting question, and it's quite um, the question that it's evident, right? Answering this question, just think of a business that has like its processes automated and could easily do things easily. Let's look at business operations like Bolt, for example, also a top ride-hailing brand that could easily connect with different customers. They do not own any cars, but they could easily connect with different customers in different areas. And just with one tap, you go. Then look at another business that just like, let's say, a traditional motor park system, where they just want people to and come to the park. Maybe you are going to this particular point. You don't want people to come to the park and come and book cabs, right? You see that because of this sake of automation, because of this sake of having these products where users can just easily tap, like book rides and all, it's actually going to help them reach more people because of the ease. So having this is just basically about ease of doing things and ease of helping your users, right, stay satisfied, making their life easy, right? People don't really want to things that makes their life difficult and complicated. People don't want stress. People want things to happen naturally, and users will normally adapt to their competitors. If your competitor is having successfully implemented digital transformation processes, they will have a competitive advantage over you. That's just like the bottom line of the story, and they'll be able to satisfy their users better, and in turn, users will stick. Users would not churn. They'll be able to like come to the business, use their businesses, and in turn, the company will make money. Business, there'll be money and there'll be income, adoption. That's the goal of business, right? So I think that's the best way I could answer that particular question. Right.
Yeah, because we're pressed with time now, let's look ahead. Where do you see the Africa digital transformation journey in the next 5 to 10 years?
Okay, so looking at the African digital transformation journey in the next decade, the next 5 years, right? I think there will be more adoption rates, right? There'll be more businesses adopting technology in terms of in different fields, in the fintech space, in the agri-tech space, right? Prop tech and different again tech categories. So there'll be more adoption rates, but this solely depends on the infrastructure available in the next 10 years, right? It solely depends on how probably something as small as internet, electricity, and digital literacy, right? So these totally are what are the like pillars to what what digital transformation is going to be in the next 10 years. But if these are properly solved, I see faster business operations, right? You could see what OP is doing in terms of cash transfer, cash transfer. Like people are basically not going to be using carrying cash about a lot, and people are going to like depend even down to the rural communities. Once digital literacy is at the eye level, people are going to like be right easily use all those technologies. So it's the successes of this digital transformation, right, in the African space depends solely on the infrastructure, digital literacy, and the people themselves, right? So, right, this still takes back to the government. Government has a big role to play in this field. They have to like at least we should be having stable electricity, faster internet, and these things. So if these are set, next 10 years is going to be a very interesting and emerging technologies are going to like take over the space, right?
Thank you so much for your time on the Business Morning Show. Obafemi Victor is a product designer and also a digital transformation coach. It was really good to have you on the Business Morning Show.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity also. And,
All right. Still to come after this break, harnessing project management to drive business efficiency and growth. Just stay with us. They say money never sleeps. Wake up to clarity, insights, and the stories driving business in Nigeria and beyond.
From the heartbeat of small and medium enterprises to the pulse of national economic policy, this is where business meets perspective. With expert guests, real-time analysis, and stories that matter to you. We go beyond headlines to bring you the full picture. Join us every morning as we break down the numbers, decode the policies, and spotlight the people shaping our economy. This is Business Money.
Welcome to the Triumph Against Odd podcast.
Most people go through their lives without knowing what their superpower is, right? But if you're lucky enough and determined enough to find your superpower before you get to a certain stage of your life, you will be incredibly successful.
Look, the first thing is you just decide not to look at the challenges, because if you do, it's going to end you.
The closest thing I think is that I had a deeply military background, which is a bit of a never say die background.
I saw an opportunity in non-interest banking, and I felt that the demand was there. There was pent-up demand for it. People were yearning for it, and I felt that if we did it properly, if we brought in professionalism into it, and if we brought in our experiences, our various experiences from various backgrounds into it, that it could succeed.
Very few people do that because very few people explore their superpowers. They just explore bread and butter issues. I need to eat, and
Yes, there will be challenges. This is a very difficult business environment. The government keeps working on how to make business easier.
The first problem to overcome is really just starting, right? We thought about this idea for over 2 years before we even took the first step.
You cannot ignore this country. No, and to be from here, I think is an incredible privilege. Nigeria will be ascendant in my lifetime.
Attention business leaders. Want to make informed decisions? Join the ranks of the best with Premium Business Day. Access in-depth analysis and expert opinions to stay ahead. Subscribe now at premium.businessday.ng and unlock premium content. Plus, you get 50% off your first subscription. Don't miss out. Make smarter choices and seize new opportunities. Sign up now and elevate your business game. Visit premium.businessday.ng today.
Welcome back. You're still watching Business Morning right here on the Breakfast Show. Now let's move on to our second conversation for today. In today's fast-changing business environment, organizations are under pressure to do more with less, respond quickly to challenges, and deliver results efficiently. Project management has become one of the most important tools for achieving this, helping businesses plan, organize, and execute with precision. Today, we'll be exploring how project management, both traditional and agile, can drive efficiency and growth for businesses of all sizes. Joining us is engineer Bamidele Idris, is the lead project engineer P&G UK and the founder Get Jobs Nigeria. Good morning, engineer. It's good to have you on the show.
Yes, good morning. Sorry for my blurry system. I'm actually on site, and there are so many distractions ongoing.
Very well.
A minute.
Very well. All right, now let's start off with why do you think project management is such a critical driver of businesses' success today?
Yes, yeah, I think you can see me properly now. Yes, we have project management as a broad subject, and currently project management is just all about turning ideas into structured, predictable way in which you'll be able to, face deadlines and also limited budget, and at the same time achieving the whole idea of project. For instance, we have a lot of projects that are being engaged by politicians and also technocrats in Nigeria today. And what one of the biggest problems is managing funds and ensuring that those funds that are being managed are, appropriated correctly, and also within that limited time frame which you have in achieving aims. That's the whole idea of project management.
So, how would you define efficiency and growth? I'm talking about in the context now of project management.
I would define efficiency as using resources wisely: time, cost, money, people. Then also, growth means that through this efficiency, this business scale up sustainability. For example, efficiency might be delivering a software rollout in 6 weeks instead of 10. So growth is the fact that this rollout allows the company to onboard 30% more clients. I always measure with hard metrics. The hard metrics, I mean budget, timelines, and KPIs, and soft outcomes. That's what I mean.
You've actually worked with cross-functional teams on complex challenges. So what lessons do you think stands out for you?
One big lesson that stands out for me is communication. That's the angle I will come in. Communication before, I think, communication stands out for me. So what do I mean by communication? A lot of times we try to communicate with different parties at the same time. And for instance, different languages. I have finance team, I have the IT team, I have the operations team. And if I'm able to communicate with all these things together and bring up that one idea that we want to achieve, I think it will help projects a lot. So for me, communication is one of the biggest challenges that we have in project management.
Right. So let's move to the business relevance. So in your experience, what are the key differences between the traditional and the agile project management? And when should businesses use each? At what point should they use each?
Yes, people confuse traditional and agile. When I did my project management certification and also my Scrum certification, the traditional, it's the waterfall type, and also the agile, it requires software. So the agile works with when requirements are clear. If the requirements are clear, that is the traditional. However, when you're working with softwares, software development, and where you have it depends on context and hybrid, that's when you now talk of the agile.
So many organizations, they use tools like Asana and Microsoft Office. So how do this platform enhance collaboration and efficiency?
Yeah, I recall when I started project management, not post project management certification and also pre-project management certification. I recall that we used to use Microsoft Excel to bring out project timelines before all these softwares came into play. And you have to type in manually, and it was cumbersome. But all these project management softwares like this Asana, it actually makes work easy and more efficient. And apart from that, it gives you more accountability. And there's an audit trail where that if anybody does anything on the software, you can actually see the audit trail of all this. So that's the difference between pre Asana and pre all these new project management softwares and the post management softwares.
Through some of the common mistakes that businesses actually make when managing projects, and how they can be avoided.
The first thing is stakeholder alignment. If you do not carry out stakeholder alignment, there's no way a project can be successful. There are several people that you need to engage for you to have a good project management success. So stakeholder alignment, that's the first thing. Then also jumping into a project without clear scope. You need to have a proper scope for every project. Then also, if you're engaging in project management, you also don't let management be an afterthought. Management engagement has to be, part of the planning phase. So I think those three are very important.
Okay, now let's look at practical application. Can you share a practical example where, project management directly improved outcomes in a business or a team?
Yes, I will give an example of upgrading for what I'm doing now. Well, right now, I'm doing a recovery project, and that's why you see me fully kitted up right now. I'm on site, so you can see I'm looking left and right just to ensure that everything is okay. So I'm doing a recovery project, and that recovery project, the whole idea is I'm going to be having savings of about 400 million pounds. So if you convert that, it's a huge amount of money. So by the time you have these savings and you remove these savings from your EBIT, which is earning before tax, it's massive, and this is more profit for the company, and not only more profit for the company, it's also more salary uptake, and the management will be able to discuss salary improvements with individuals. So it's massive. So that's one of the examples I'm doing right now.
So how do you think effective project planning would help companies actually adapt to unexpected changes or any disruptions?
There is something we call obsolescence. Obsolescence is when equipment get outdated because of technological advances. And in project planning, you envisage that a lot of things are coming up gradually. And by the time you put project planning into this, you'll be able to beat the times. Let me give you an example, and it's a very popular example. Nokia. You remember Nokia? Everybody was using Nokia 3310, and at that time, there was this mindset that Nokia 3310 has come to stay. There was not going to be any improvement. And if you look at it closely, you will see that because they did not plan ahead, a lot of other companies came, and today Nokia is nowhere to be found. And that is a classic example of project management, in terms of advancement, in terms of future planning. So that's why I said obsolescence is a very key thing. So project planning makes you prepare, and it makes you plan ahead.
What challenges do you think businesses in Nigeria and also Africa at large, challenges do you think they face in adopting effective project planning practices?
In Africa, because of, I would say one of the major things that we have as a problem in Africa is corruption. Corruption is the bane of a lot of things. In fact, it's a root cause of a lot of issues in project management. And how do I mean? Once a project is approved for implementation, by the time you begin and allocate resources for all these projects, somebody comes into play and doesn't release the funds for that particular project. And by the time you've allocated all the resources, when the funds are not enough, that is when corners are being cut. And when corners are being cut, you do not get quality jobs, quality and effective implementation of all these plans that you've made. Then you start hiring laborers or engineers that are not qualified. You start cutting corners, and by the time you start cutting corners, you still show the job. So I think that that's one of the major problems that we have. We have talented people, we have professionals that can deliver, but when corruption comes into play, you find a lackluster job being done.
Okay, for small, medium enterprises with limited resources, how do you think project management principles can still be applied effectively?
For any kind of business, whether it's a small project or it's a big project, the first thing you need to do is having a clear scope. And that's what I said earlier. A clear scope, and also ensuring that you have a timeline, no matter how small that job is. Having a clear scope, having a timeline, and having a budget for a particular task and small business, it's quite important. And also, it is very important you do enough visibility in any task or any business that you want to engage in. So by the time you have this in place, I think every business will succeed. So a lot of businesses spring up in Africa without having that those things I mentioned. And that is why people complain that I'm not doing well in this business, not because the business is not lucrative enough, but because there is no proper planning in terms of feasibility and also budgeting and clear scope. That's the angle I look at it from.
So let's now look at the future outlook. What skills do you think the next generation of professionals what do you think they should develop to be able to thrive as you know, in the space of project management?
Now, currently, I've engaged a lot of upcoming engineers. I've engaged a lot of upcoming project managers. One of the biggest challenge I've seen so far has to do with number one, interest. A lot of our upcoming guys are not interested in, you know, developing themselves. The era of having only certificates, I think that era is going. The era of just going to school and presenting certificates to employers, that era is gone. People are more interested in those skills which you are actually asking about. And those skills can be learned by one, volunteering. I know that in universities and in polytechnics, there's this thing they call the IT, which is the internship. For polytechnics, you have 1 year, you have to do your internship with any organization, especially in the field which you actually are studying. For universities, for those studying engineering, in year 4, I know there's a 6 months IT. I'm not sure, maybe they're still doing it. So those are opportunities where you can acquire skills, technical skills with organizations that actually offer training in that course, in that field of study. However, what we currently have, we have people that are studying engineering, going for internship in, let's say, a business environment. There's no way you can acquire skills that way. So the first thing is volunteering in any field. When I finished my high school, the first thing I did was I went to an engineering company to learn how to use a lathe machine, to learn how to use a milling machine. Those are practical skills that are helping me till today. So acquiring skills, getting dirty, especially if you really mean business, you need to get dirty, you know, in order to acquire technical skills. I don't mean just anyhow skills, technical skills. You need to volunteer, and not only volunteering, you need to have a mentor. By the time you have a mentor that can guide you in those technical skills, it will help you. Then also, you need to, there are so many online applications now you can learn from. For instance, there's, I know there's Coursera, that people can actually go in and learn so many things. Apart from that Coursera, there's so many other ones. You could go and learn skills, especially computer aided skills. You can learn that. And for instance, Asana, I know Coursera is offering Asana. I know data analysis also on Google apps. So it's a whole lot. So acquiring those technical skills has to do with your deliberate interest. So if you do not have that interest, there's no way you can thrive in whatever you want to learn about. So having that interest, then going for the jugular. Going for the jugular, I mean, you need to go and meet people who are really in it and learn, and also show that interest.
Before we go, let's let's look ahead. How do you see project management evolving in response to new technologies and workplace trends?
To be candid, the level at which there's technological advancement now in workplace, you'll be so shocked. When I started my career in engineering, we were drawing AutoCADs with compass, pencil, and all stuffs. But this day, you can actually tell the AI to do all those stuffs without necessarily plotting anything. All you just need to do is just take pictures, and AI is going to help you plot all this and even do the design. So that's the level at which advancements are going. So in the future, I see more of AI doing all the stuff that we're doing in the past. So, and that is why it is very important for project managers to move with the times. Now, I have some engineers that are working with me now, and what those engineers are doing is they've started doing 3Ds or 4D scanning of different areas, and that gives them an edge in terms of structural design. So if you're not ahead with the times, at the end of the day, what happened to Nokia is going to happen to an average project manager or a project engineer. So I feel that moving with the computer-aided designs and also these technological advancements will help for future purposes. And at the end of the day, the problem is if countries like Nigeria do not support engineers and project managers to develop all these skills and give them an enabling environment to learn all this, there will be big problem in future. For instance, you have project managers going on site trying to connect their equipment to power supply, and there's no power supply. Somebody has to rent a generator and power equipment. Those are some of the problems I'm talking, and those are some of the enabling environmental factors that might, impede the progress of project management. So I think it's very important to start moving with the times with the support of government enabling, a good environment for this.
Site on the Business Morning Show. Engineer Bamidele Idris is the lead project engineer, P&G UK, and founder, Get Jobs Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. I hope my background and everything that is going on here is not disturbing the show.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
It's nice speaking with you.
All right. That's been our focus on Business Morning. We looked at driving digital transformation, how human-centered design is shaping the future of African businesses, and also our nesting projects management to drive business efficiency and growth. And that's the much we can take on Business Morning this morning. I'm Deborah Ezeh. Thank you for watching. And do stay with us as the breakfast show continues with a big story with Elizabeth Musa after the short break. Have a good morning.